Hey guys, it's Kason. I wanted to do a video indicating that Trump admitted he would receive help from a foreign government if they were to offer him information on one of his opponents. I wanted to highlight this and then look at some of the bigger implications, indicating that he would rather win an election than potentially keep our country safe and secure.
Matters in Washington. We have major breaking news tonight and a stunning admission tonight. The president told ABC News he has no problem accepting dirt on a political opponent from a foreign power. In fact, Trump denied that foreign help should even be considered election interference. Listen to this.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
Do you want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it. If I thought there was something wrong, I'd go maybe to the FBI if I thought there was something wrong. But when somebody comes up...
Notice he said maybe he would go to the FBI if they did something wrong. As the Mueller report demonstrates, he did not go to the FBI. No one in this campaign went to the FBI. They expected to benefit from the Russian interference, and it helped him to win that election. So the same way that in a sense smashed our democracy, I'd also like you to smash my like button, smash my subscription button.
Research. Oh, let's call the FBI. The FBI doesn't have enough agents to take care of it. But you go and talk honestly to congressmen. They all do it. They always have. And that's the way it is. It's called Oppo research.
2 years to get that admission, 2 years of the Mueller report, and now we have the president's motive. There's nothing wrong with taking dirt from the Russians. It's a shocking statement from a president who won his election with help from Moscow in 2016. And it signals to foreign governments around the world, just think about it, that Trump's 2020 campaign is open for business. I'm joined right now by Ken Delaney, national security reporter with NBC News, Cynthia Eckstein, former federal prosecutor, Jason Johnson, political editor at The Root, and Susan Del Percio, Republican strategist. I want to start with Ken. I want to get this, Cynthia right away. This is the politics of this. He has admitted there's nothing wrong with what he's been investigated for 2 years, playing footsie with the Russians.
It's so inconsistent with the values that we all understand our politicians live by, Republican and Democrat. It's outside the mainstream. Stephanopoulos went on to say, by the way, Al Gore had a debate prep book from George W. Bush. He called the FBI. He didn't use it because that was the ethos. And Trump is blowing it all up. And you're absolutely right. He's sending a signal to the Chinese, the Russians, anyone who wants to interfere in our election. It's open season. Hack, investigate, use intelligence methods to get incriminating information about opponents and hand it to Donald Trump.
When I heard the president say that, great work by George Stephanopoulos, by the way, when I heard the president say there's nothing wrong with taking dirt from a foreign power, which is what we've been talking about for 2 years, I thought that's why his lawyers wouldn't let him give live testimony, because they were afraid this character would just do a Perry Mason and say, all right, I did it.
Right. And it's not just a foreign power. It's our adversary for the last 50 years. Yeah. And here's the problem why it's not a Perry Mason moment. Because now what happens? Nothing.
Okay, you make a point.
I mean, that's before we get too excited about it. What happens? Nothing.
Some interesting points are brought up right there as the news analyst explained that this is likely the reason why Trump's lawyers didn't want him to testify, because when you get him out talking and he doesn't always follow the script, doesn't always follow the teleprompter, he might have admitted to something happening with Russia interfering in the election, receiving help from Russia. He might have tried to explain that it was okay. And then also the points brought up that Russia's not just a foreign government, they are a rival of the United States. Ever since the Cold War, when World War II ended and you had just the United States and Russia, basically as the two world superpowers remaining, the U.S. has been at odds with Russia. Putin does not like democracy. He wants to destroy democracy in Europe and in the United States. He doesn't believe that's a good form of government.
Because now what happens? Nothing.
Okay, you make a point.
I mean,
but
that's before we get too excited about it. What happens?
Comes out and says, damn it, I do this stuff. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right. Right. Well, everybody know. I mean, on some level, we know it. He's a completely selfish person, and the only thing he cares about is himself. And if he thinks it helps his election, then he'll take it.
Okay, Jason, you understand politics as a big picture. For years, his crowd has defended him. He didn't interfere. He didn't play ball with the Russians. He didn't think he would never do anything. And he, on Air Force One, concocted, perhaps with Hope Hicks sitting there, concocted this crazy story. We were just talking about adopting Russian kids.
Right.
When, in fact, his son had told him, apparently, he was in there getting dirt on Hillary Clinton.
Right. So we always knew that he was lying. The question is going to be
saying, of course I was lying.
Right. Of course I was lying. It's the OJ thing. At first he used to say, well, I didn't do it, but here's how I would. Now he said, well, yeah, okay, I did it. You got me. The question is going to be, how many Republicans take the Justin Amash standpoint? They're like, oh, okay, this is it. This may be a this is it moment when the president says, I will take active and open information, but also
we've got a Republican here. Susan, what do you think? Do you think the Republicans will crack this? I mean, it is primary. I will argue with it because I've been waiting for this guy. George is standing right next to him, a weird angle, by the way, looking down on him, and he's looking up sideways at him like he really doesn't want to confront him and says, yeah, what's wrong with that? It was like that street talk. So what?
Chris,
go ahead.
The president has
Susan.
proven he has no respect for the office he holds. He has no loyalty to the country.
How about his own defense?
Well, he has no loyalty to the country. He doesn't have one. He is a traitor to the pillars of our democracy. That's what that interview shows. And the fact that there aren't Republicans willing to stand up to them, I don't know what they think they're going to be doing in the next couple of years when Donald Trump gets kicked out in 2020 and people are going to look at them with disdain, or at least I hope they do.
Let me talk about the development of 2 years.
The point is brought up that Republicans should be criticizing Trump the way that Justin Amash is, the way that Mitt Romney has maybe done to an extent, the way that John McCain did, the way that Jeff Flake did. And if you're really looking at this objectively, that seems to absolutely be true. Republicans cried out against President Obama and said that he was a tyrant. They said that he ruled with an iron fist. They called him King Obama, some of them. But then when you have Trump claiming that it's okay to get help from a foreign government, a foreign adversary, a lot of them stay quiet. A lot of these politicians care more about staying in power than they actually do about the concepts of democracy and the Constitution and ensuring the security of our systems.
Got a Republican here. Susan, what do you think? Do you think the Republicans will crack this? I mean, it is primary. I will argue with it because I've been waiting for this guy. George is standing right next to him, a weird angle, by the way, looking down on him, and he's looking up sideways at him like he really doesn't want to confront him and says, yeah, what's wrong with that? It was like that street talk. So what?
Chris,
go ahead.
The president has
Susan.
proven he has no respect for the office he holds. He has no loyalty to the country.
How about his own defense?
Well, he has no loyalty to the country. He doesn't have one. He is a traitor to the pillars of our democracy. That's what that interview shows. And the fact that there aren't Republicans willing to stand up to them, I don't know what they think they're going to be doing in the next couple of years when Donald Trump gets kicked out in 2020 and people are going to look at them with disdain, or at least I hope they do.
Let me talk about the development of 2 years now. We've focused on it in this program and many other programs and all over cable land and nightly news and everywhere else, trying to figure out what was Trump's motive? Did he know what he's doing? Was he knowingly involved with getting dirt from the Russians? Because we got the compromise.
Right.
The dirt went out on social media about Hillary. We got the hacking into the Democratic National Committee, and John Podesta and Palmieri and everybody. All that dirt. We know the big three parts to it. We know everything they were doing. And now he's admitting nothing wrong with that.
Well,
the Russians are helping us. Who wouldn't take the Russians' help?
Robert Mueller found that they were too disorganized to have a real conspiracy, but now we know that it wasn't about morals and ethics. Trump was willing to do this. That's not why he didn't get jammed up criminally. The Russians didn't need to conspire. They were pouring out the emails to WikiLeaks, and the Trump team was using them. But I also think, Chris, there's a little bit of trolling going on here. He knows this is going to drive people crazy, and he knows he's caught.
Oh, come on. No. Wait till you see how this cracks tonight everywhere in the world. This is going to blow him tonight. I don't know why. This is part of some elongated circular gameplay.
No. This is not three-dimensional chess. He just doesn't care, right? He doesn't think there's going to be consequences.
That's his genius.
And
but that's not genius. He just knows the Democrats are too cowardly to do anything.
His base will eat this up. I have no problem with it.
What I think it is. He was asked by George as the context of that question, your son. So he's basically doing what most people do, defend the family.
The line was stated, his base really doesn't care about this. That's when you have the danger of a true authoritarian rising to power, is when their base will never call them out no matter what they do. Trump bragged that he could go and shoot someone in the face and his base would still stand by him. That is extremely dangerous. It's basically indicating Trump can just do whatever he wants. There's going to be a large segment, well, maybe not real large, but there's going to be a segment of the population that stays absolutely loyal to him. Anything that is negatively reported on Trump, they will try and accuse of being fake news, and Trump's encouraged that mantra. He's encouraged, he's beat the drum of fake news anytime that an objective news source reports anything somewhat negative on him, trying to discredit them as quickly as he can.
Knows he's
oh,
caught.
come on. No. Wait till you see how this cracks tonight everywhere in the world. This is going to blow him tonight. I don't know about, this is part of some elongated circular gameplay.
No, this is not three-dimensional chess. He just doesn't care, right? He doesn't think there's going to be any consequences.
That's his genius.
And
but that's not genius. He just knows the Democrats are too cowardly to do anything.
He knows his base will eat this up and have no problem with it.
What I think it is. He was asked by George as the context of that question, your son. So he's basically doing what most people do, defend the family. Okay, he's defending son because the son went to Trump Tower. The son met with, let's watch him now. In that interview, Trump also was expressed to explain why his son, Donald Trump Jr., did not alert the FBI that he had received offers of Russian dirt on Hillary Clinton. Here goes.
Should he have gone to the FBI when he got that email?
Okay, let's put yourself in a position. You're a congressman. Somebody comes up and says, hey, I have information on your opponent. Do you call the FBI? I don't think
coming from Russia, you do.
I've seen a lot of things over my life. I don't think in my whole life I've ever called the FBI. In my whole life. You don't call the FBI. You throw somebody out of your office. You do whatever
Al
you do.
Gore got a stolen briefing book. He called the FBI.
Well, that's different. A stolen briefing book. This isn't a stolen. This is somebody that said, we have information on your opponent. Oh, let me call the FBI. Give me a break. Life doesn't work that way.
The FBI director says that's what should happen.
The FBI director is wrong.
I thought that was the clearest bite of that interview, where he clearly said not FBI and use the dirt, but just use the dirt. Give me a break.
Right. That's obviously exactly what he would have done, and it's what he will do in the future, which is why you're right. It's open season. And then now the question becomes, what do we do with this information?
I mean, he's really going to war with his intelligence community more so than ever before, saying the FBI director is wrong. Yesterday, he repudiated the CIA for allegedly trying to recruit somebody close to the brutal dictator of North Korea. Said he wouldn't do it because he's friends with the guy.
The interviewer brings up multiple times that Al Gore turned in that book, and Trump doesn't really respond to that. And at the end, when he says that the FBI director is wrong, we need to really ask ourselves the question, who is going to be more knowledgeable about the Constitution, about the procedures, how things are supposed to be handled? Is it going to be Donald Trump, who had zero political experience before running for president, or is it going to be someone who has climbed to the position of FBI director through their own merit? Trump literally was elected president in large part because he inherited a fortune from his father, and he has been trying to play off the idea, he's been trying to promote the idea that he's wealthy because of his intelligence and because of his hard work. And it's one of the main reasons why he's president. All right, thank you for watching. Go ahead and, again, hit the like button and the subscribe button.